But remember also Raila Odinga's team had clearly suggested that those particular ones who were suspected to be partisan or to have been involved in some interference or some manipulation of the process. And therefore, they requested that for the sake of the credibility of the process, they should step aside. And the chairman went ahead and did that. And now we hear the Jubilee coalition doesn't trust most of those that have been appointed. Now, if you ask me, though, I think this is very critical that both sides should have an interest in having a really, truly credible and trusted IEBC before the next election. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you perform, as the Supreme Court said, it is a process. If you do not ensure that this process is going to be credible, it is going to be another.
Good evening, and fellow viewers, and welcome to this edition of the show Ambas 360. I am your host, Derek Yu, and today I have a very special guest of honor, Mr. Fru Nkimbeng from the city of Lowell in Massachusetts. Mr. Fru is a community activist in the city of Boston, that is in Massachusetts in USA. Before I call on our guests, I would like to give a brief introduction of our guest before I call on him to say hello. So our guest Mr. Fru Nkimbeng was born in Mancon, and he holds a degree in economics from the University of Lowell. He holds a master's in computer information systems from River University in Nashua, that is in New Hampshire in the US as well. He also has a management certificate from Boston University School of Management, that is in Boston, and he is a computer information specialist. In 2002, Mr. Nkimbeng facilitated a sister city relationship between the city of his birth city of Bamenda and his current living city of Lowell, that is in Massachusetts in USA. Mr. Fru Nkimbeng and his wife, Kien Awasum Nkimbeng, lives in the city of Lowell with their 4 beautiful children. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Derek. It's a pleasure for me to be on the show. And I will also extend to my fellow Southern Cameroonians the world over. I bring humility and greatness to all of you. As you rightly say, I was born in Nkimbeng, Mancon, Bamenda.
Okay.
I've been out of Bamenda for many years, but Bamenda flows in my vein.
Oh, thank you for that introduction. So that really just follows up to our first question, which would be introduction of yourself and the Southern Cameroons community in Lowell.
Thank you very much. Again, I live in a very beautiful all-American city here in Lowell. I personally call it the United Nations of Cities in America. We are 25 minutes away from Boston, north of Boston. I am humble enough to pay tribute to other Southern Cameroonians who had lived here in the early 80s and gone to school, and actually laid the groundwork for me and the other Cameroonians who are here now. So I cannot say anything without paying tribute to the wonderful work that they did with their good behavior and humility and respect for the people on the ground that have paved the way for us to be here. What was part of your question again, please?
I wanted you to tell us about how the community, the Southern Cameroons community, is in the city of Lowell.
Well, a flashback. Lowell is, I would say, there are so many schools here, and the greater Boston is more or less the academic capital of the world. So most Southern Cameroonians, the few Southern Cameroonians who came here in the 80s, they were well behaved. They brought our peaceful culture here, and with that, they sort of laid a very foundation for us who came here. In the mid-80s, when we came here, there were very few Africans, and such that the police will identify you if you drive some other person's car.
Wow.
So with that, we realized that it was in our best interest to continue the goodwill and the community aspect of what our predecessors had laid for us. So we gathered together and formed a Cameroonians of Lowell Association. That was in 1992.
Wow.
And the aspect of it was that, you know, once away from home, we should bring our own culture and share with the community here. And by so doing, we met in members' houses every first Saturday of the month. That in itself was some sort of our security to show that your neighbors, if once a month they can gather in your small apartment, we can gather in a small apartment and make some noise, they will know that this is an African who has a following. Indirectly, you are participating. So we started brainstorming and getting involved in the community. Any individual initiative that was done out there, we encourage to go out and be the ambassadors of not only Cameroon, but of Africa, and knowing that we would be judged by our actions, and those actions will really lay a groundwork for opportunities for us and those who will come after us. So in that aspect, we thought that it was wise, away from home, to make this Lowell, our new city, home. And how do you make it? You have to get involved. You have to meet the Lowellians. You have to get out there and not only sit at home, but you have to give your services. Be member of churches. Volunteer your services. Look what is around. So in that aspect, we came together and saw that it was in our interest to get out there and also show our Africanness. By doing that, in the late 2000, early 2000, we came together and formed the African Cultural Association. That was really spearheaded by the Cameroons. And I would testify with you that most of the Cameroonians who came here in Lowell, they were all Southern Cameroonians.
Okay. Wow. So thanks so much for that brief. It's a very good background, and indeed that explains why the city of Lowell happens to be the only city, the only American city that has actually passed a resolution condemning the human rights abuses in Southern Cameroons and also standing with the people of Southern Cameroons. So, so that is actually an amazing journey of community engagement. I would like to find out from you how this particular engagement, how did you get the city of Lowell to be that engaged, that they will be that concerned about what is happening in Southern Cameroons?
Mr. Eric, that's a wonderful question, and thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
Again, I would say that this initiative was not the work of one individual.
Yeah.
And our motto was that if any individual amongst all of us Cameroonians who were here, if you go out and see a breakthrough, that success will be shared by the whole Cameroonian community. In that aspect, we pull each and every one together. There is no individual aspect that we minimize. So I would tell you that these things really happen. It takes time, and the most important thing that can make you part of a community is humility, respect, and also honesty. So those qualities that we brought over from Southern Cameroon, I'm so proud of my parents. But I would tell you that an additional boost to us came in 2002, when His Royal Highness, the Fon of Mancon, made a maiden visit to the United States. And in spite of the very cold weather, he visited Lowell. We were even very, very pleased. His Royal Highness accepted to attend our 20th anniversary in Lowell. That was the Cameroonians of Lowell, and 20th anniversary. And
yeah.
Our guest in town, it was a wonderful opportunity for us to introduce His Royal Highness to the City Hall. And it's very, very important that His Royal Highness is the only African ruler who has addressed the City Council in Lowell and was made an honorary member of the City Council. So that actually laid the groundwork for us going forward. And with this, having done that, my team and all the Cameroonians here in Lowell, as I mentioned, this is a community endeavor by all of us, encouraging each other along the way. Even those who didn't join us, we knew that they supported us. So we move forward to see how we could establish a sister-city relationship with Bamenda, and that's really how this came about. But before doing that, I would say that I am glad this discussion is going on, and I believe that all over the world, Southern Cameroonians are doing their very best to put up a very good image to represent us around. And as I said, the most important qualities of success are humility, community engagement, honesty, and trust.
Wow, thank you.
And also that people should not stay in their homes. The most important place to create, to be seen and felt as part of the city where you are, is go to the city hall. Just go and sit there and watch the city council deliberations. The city councilors, people are watching you. You would be surprised, you would be really amazed at, you will be walking down the street. Some white person will will smile at you and say hello. You will be surprised, where does this individual know me? He met you because you were out there being part of the community.
Thank you so much for such detailed background explanations, Mr. Fru. I think that our viewers, especially from around the world, would be gaining some lessons from the explanations, from your experience. So actually the question that I wanted to ask, which you're already attempting to answer, is how can we duplicate the Lowell experience in other Southern Cameroon communities around the world, which I think you have already started to respond to that.
It's very, I would say that almost all Southern Cameroonians around the world, they are already doing it in one shape or another. Okay. And how are they doing this? They're doing this because we are a peaceful, loving people who respect our culture, and with that spirit, we take it out, and it our guiding principles. So with our home education, to respect our parents, our seniors, our elders, and those who are vulnerable and sick. When in any community that you find yourself, find where there is a shelter, go there and volunteer. I would tell you that one of the most important gifts of building your social capital, your social network, is to volunteer your time for free. Because look at it, for example. Imagine if I employ you, I pay you for your services. At the end of that payment, what happens? I forget about you. But when you offer your services for free to help another individual, or to the building of your community, or even of a community that they consider you as a stranger, you indirectly build network. You build your social capital. People will remember you, and that it comes gradually. The tendency is that we really want immediate gratification, which comes in monetary terms. But if you find yourself, if you volunteer, I would bet you learn a lot. And another thing is, find out any non-profit organizations in your neighborhood. Join them. Find out what it takes to serve on the board. All these things gives you some sort of managerial skills and also gets you into knowing the community, and people know that you are really out there. And I would say that another aspect is mostly the white world and in America here, there is this what they call diversity. Most organizations, they would want to see people from various backgrounds. And as a Southern Cameroonian, why don't you be the face of that minority, whom you can represent your own background? And the most important thing is when you serve their place, humility, respect, honesty is really the guiding principles. But the rewards are very, very enormous. It can be individual and also will leave a legacy for whoever comes after.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much for that insight, sir. So, as young people today, you have nailed the word instant gratification as something that that we go after. We prefer to do the things that earn us money instead of the things that that would land us, long-lasting, kind of intrinsic value where you gain that you don't see at the time, but over time it accumulates and all that. So it's a good, indeed a good lesson. So as young people as well, our best trick is that we always, when we go to the most experienced folks, we say, so what were the challenges that you faced? So I'm going to ask that as a question. What are the challenges that you faced with the city of Lowell in your community engagement and mobilization? Just so, what are some of the challenges that you faced, so that as we are engaging our own communities, we should be avoiding those and we should be learning from those?
Wonderful. Challenges create opportunities. If you are afraid of challenges, and then you will not, the doors of opportunity will be closed to you as well. I would also point out that you talked about the youths of today. With the social network, I will tell you that I mentioned about volunteerism and finding yourself to be helping the less fortunate in any community that you are. People are looking at you. And when you volunteer your services after school, you already acquire certain skills. And also you are building your resume. Employers will nowadays would want to know what skills do you bring, what community activity involvement you have gathered under your belt. Those are things that build you as a disciplined, well-cultured individual. So that's the lesson that I can speak to our youth today. So that is something that you cannot get experience in class. You can get experience by volunteering yourself. And doors of opportunities are really there for you to, will open for you in case any opportunity happens wherever you are volunteered. You will be the first person to be considered. Okay, talking about challenges, I would say that one of the major challenges that we face as Southern Cameroonians in a wide world, like in America, it's really the color of our skin, and sometimes too our accent. That in itself is an asset, because it differentiates us between the locals. And most people who knows Africans, they bring a value, they bring a culture. So with that in itself, the only way that you can overcome those challenges is to get involved. You shouldn't stay at home. You shouldn't be ashamed, because they value you for your identity. They may complain about your accent, but if they see you, you should let people judge you and understand you by what you bring to the table.
Okay. No, that's no. Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, these are very good lessons, especially at this time, especially those challenging times for Southern Cameroonians, especially those at home. So having an opportunity to interview somebody like you, and you're sharing such live lessons, I know that they're going to go a long way to build character, in our young people. So one of the things that I wanted to ask, which already with your experience you already are tackling, is some of the strategies that we can use. Like our city of Johannesburg, I know that people are watching from other cities around the world, whether it's from Germany, whether it's from Italy, France, all the cities that have Southern Cameroon communities. What are some of the strategies that we can use in our own cities that you have used in Lowell, so that we overcome things like racism, which you have said as one of the challenges? We can overcome things like maybe at times even our accent as some of the things that would make you not get a job with somebody just because you speak a certain way, and then you don't get an employment. All those things are hindrances. So what are some of your strategies that we can piggyback and be using in our own communities to build that kind of engagement?
Very wonderful question. Again, Eric, those questions are very important, and I would tell you that one of the greatest assets for someone to know is to invite that person into your home. Share your meal and also share your culture. What we did here in Lowell is that through the African Cultural Association and also through our Cameroonian traditional occasions, we will invite the locals. We will invite the mayor, we will invite the chief of police, we will invite community leaders, we will invite church elders to come dine with us. No, you know, the most important thing is don't let people judge you from a distance. If they don't want to come to you, you go to them and bring them to yourself. And then once they get to know you, all the stereotypes, perceptions become an asset, because they themselves would actually open up to you and say that, you know what, this is what I thought of you. But coming close to you, I've seen a human being and a person that has values, and it's teaching me a lot, you see. So with all of those, I would say that wherever we are, be it in South Africa, be it in Germany, every politics is local. You use your environment to try to make it better before you. You should ask yourself, don't be a beneficiary. When once in any environment that you find yourself, you want to be a beneficiary, at some point you invite problems to yourself. Try to be a benefactor. Then the locals will actually embrace you. How do you become a benefactor? You see, when we invite the mayor and the city residents to our occasion, we give them African clothes. We give them African flags or symbols. Now it's not a taboo to see the mayor wear an African attire to attend our occasion.
Wow!
And a very important thing at the city hall, when His Royal Highness Fru Nkimbeng III of Mankon visited the city hall, he actually got our traditional regalia and called the former mayor on stage on live TV and dressed traditionally.
Wow!
That is significant. You see, that action itself taught us a lot and made us actually ambassadors of our tradition. Wherever that mayor goes, in any African attire, she says that she's a Cameroonian.
Wow!
So this little thing that some people may think that they don't encounter, or they may shy away to carry their culture with them, but our culture is our identity. And that identity comes with humility, respect, and dignity.
Indeed.
So, if you are in South Africa, Germany, Russia, they will judge you by your conduct. And being South Cameroon, with the discipline that we have from home to primary school and to secondary school, We already have the skills. The most important thing is for us to bring those skills out and let the public see us for it. We shouldn't be shy.
Wow.
Some people are afraid to go out there and make mistakes, but they will ridicule you. You know what? If you don't make mistakes, you don't move ahead.
Wow. No, thank you. Thank you so much. Indeed, a lot of lessons packed in there, sir. And I hope that the young viewers and even the adults watching the show are learning this gems of wisdom that Mr. Nkimbeng is sharing with us. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your journey with the city of Lowell with us. And obviously, across the world, Southern Cameroonians have lauded the initiative that you and your team and your community, as you say, in the city of Lowell has done to get the city to engage, so much so that they had to make a resolution. They had to pass a resolution against the human rights abuses and all the inhumane treatment that is being given to the peoples of Southern Cameroons. So we have celebrated that across the world, and we really are proud of the work that you and your community are doing in Boston. The question now that our people, especially those at home, leading up to the 1st of October, our restoration, they are asking is, what is you and your community doing to advance the cause of the restorations of Southern Cameroons? I think that is the question in all of our minds.
Very important question. Well, you have so many very good questions, but I will, before I go on, I would say that this journey is a relay.
Yeah.
We cannot move forward without paying tribute to those who have carried that baton thus far.
Indeed.
And I tilt my heart to the comrades who have actually paved the way with the ultimate sacrifice with their lives. And those of our brethren and brothers and sisters who are languishing in the jails in Yaoundé. A few weeks, last week, we got a glimmer of hope with the release of Lord Justice Aya Paul and lawyer Abu Mbala and Dr. Fontem Neba. But BBC, Mancho BBC and the rest are still in jail. And you know what? I would say that look at October with a lot of emotion, anger, and everything. With the blood of our brothers and sisters, fathers who are spilling on our land just for standing up and asking questions that every human being can ask. So looking forward to October the 1st, I would tell you everything is in God's hands. The train has left the train station and it will not be stopped. The people who are standing on the fence, well, the train is going and it is going. We are looking forward to October 1st. Well, with a lot of enthusiasm, we in Boston are planning seriously for that day, and it's premature for me now to put the cart before the horse. It is something that the world would know come October 1st.
Indeed, indeed. No, thank you so much, sir. You are indeed a man of wisdom, and I'm celebrating you. I'm really grateful that you granted this interview, despite all the challenges with so much work that you have to. That you made the time to sit down and have a talk with us at SCBC. We really celebrate you and the work that you're doing, and I think that our people at home haven't seen the work that you have done in your city, are indeed glad and are looking forward to what will be coming from the city of Boston come the 1st of October. So so on a more personal note, I just wanted to. I think I didn't do a lot of service when I introduced you. I wanted you to help me out. So, Mr. Nkimbeng, you sit on 2 boards in the city of Lowell. I just wanted you to tell us those before we wrap up.
Oh, well, Eric, I would also commend you and your crew there in South Africa. It's very, very important that the world over know that we are giving our time for free. This is the volunteer work that we are, because once we watch the images coming out of Cameroon, we see that those people and the southern Cameroon, Boya and Bamenda and all over southern Cameroon, my heart bleeds. And what else that you and I, out of the country, having this privilege to be speaking on live television without fear. My heart is with the people back at home, because they are really the ones living a life of hell. To say that yes, it's indeed a lot of achievements have been done in Lowell. I would also say that I was fortunate last night to be online with the chairman, His Excellency C.C. Eko. He thanked us in Lowell, and also made a very important point that with the initiatives, what we are doing in Lowell, and most importantly, the resolution that was passed, helped open doors for him in England.
Indeed.
So that was very important. I would also tell you that, yes, to answer your question, I served on numerous boards. I did serve on the board of One Lowell. I served on the Lowell Police Council Advisory Board, the only, I would say, immigrant Africans.
Wow.
And with that, I did actually travel with Commissioner Ed Davis, who left Lowell and became the Commissioner of Boston. I made a traditional presentation, I accompanied him to the Justice Department, and I also attended the Eastern and Western Chiefs of Police Conference around the country here with him.
Wow.
Currently, I serve board of Lowell Telecommunication. That's where I produce most of those my TVs, and I'm very gracious that Lowell has really been very supportive, and I would say the privilege of working there, the perks that I get to organize,
Wow.
to use that to also serve my own people. I also serve as the vice board chair for Lowell Community Public Charter School. That's one of the biggest charter schools here in Lowell that takes care of mostly immigrants. I also serve on the board of Lowell General Patients Advisory Council. So we listen to complaints from patients and their families, and then we take that to the authorities to be able to find out how they can improve conditions at the hospital. I am also a board member of COOL, that's Cultural Organization of Lowell, and I was one time the president of the African Cultural Association for 10 years. And incidentally, I was the only African who had my own TV show at Lowell Telecommunication for 10 years. I did interview the mayor and most of the dignitaries here in Lowell.
Wow.
So those are some of the things that I did, and all those things paved the way for what is going on in Lowell.
Wow.
So that's what I'm telling you, that it is you sow the seed and you keep nurturing it one way or another. And we've worked collaboratively with all the Cameroonians here. Our great organization, Cameroonians of Lowell. If you really want to visit it, you can go visit it, www.camola.org. You will see exactly what the Cameroonians, we here are doing. The people from Southern Cameroon are doing. Again, I would really thank everyone at home, and that we are out here because they are out there. And as I said at the beginning, I am out of Bamenda in Southern Cameroon, but Bamenda and Southern Cameroon flows in my vein every day.
Indeed. Thank you so much, sir. You are indeed so kind. Thank you so much for the good work that you are doing in the city of Lowell. God's richest blessings and peace will be with you. So just before you go, I would like you to share your last words with our viewers, and so that we wrap up.
Well, this is really a long struggle. My heart goes to the people back at home. I know you and I who are on the show, we are now persona non grata back into our homeland, which is very, very painful.
Yes,
but there is always a gleam of hope at the end of the tunnel. And that in itself encourages me and all others not to give up. Because it's a relay. You know, we don't, it is our freedom. No one gives you freedom until you get the freedom. I would also quote one very famous writer, I don't know who he is. He said that happy is a nation, peace is bought with blood. And happy is a nation whose sons and daughters have blood. Our brothers back at home are paying the ultimate price. Our fathers and parents are languishing in jail. Our brothers are kids also, they are not going to school. And to turn back the clock and go back to the same situation is a no. The train has left. We have the baton in our own hands. It's us now to move to move that baton close to Boya. And that will make us proud. And I would say that Eric, you and crew out there in South Africa and all the Southern Cameroonians the world over, each and every one of us will bring something to the table. You see, I am just sharing my knowledge to you. This is a dialogue. The younger generation, they have something. When you imagine it, how you can create it on the ground, wherever you are, think positive, be humble, and be engaging. People will come to you, and that will be your security, and you will be able to enhance the victory by being humble and let people know us that we are peaceful and we are going to prevail. Freedom, and we will get us to Boya.
Yes. You know? No, thank you so much, sir. You are indeed so kind. Thank you so much for taking the interview with us. Me and the crew, we are really grateful, and I hope that the viewers have learned a thing or two, but more so have been inspired by your journey. Your journey is truly the journey of a Southern Cameroonian who goes out of the country not because they want to, but because they want to seek, and they want to seek for homeland. You've always had homeland in your heart, bringing the fun of Mancon and giving him that great honor in your own city, in your own city of residence. Is indeed a great service that you have done to your people of Bamenda, and we are hoping that free Southern Cameroons would get more and more cordial relationships with the city of Lowell and benefit from the work that you and your people in Lowell have been doing already. Thank you so much, sir, for your time, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
And all I can say is, Miyaka, for your information, the fun of Mancon is my father.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Thank you once more, sir. Okay, we'll be ending the call now. Thanks. So, all right. So, thank you so much for viewing this evening. That was Mr. Fru Nkimbeng from the city of Lowell. And he just gave us a great interview regarding our struggle, regarding the part that they have played as a city. And I hope that this has inspired you, because it has inspired me. And the work that we'll be doing going forward would be with a lot of lessons from the journey that the people of Lowell, city of Lowell, have been through already, and Mr. Nkimbeng have shared with us. Once more, there is a team of Southern Cameroonians, young Southern Cameroonians, who have taken our our plight, our struggle to Twitter. And I'm calling on all Southern Cameroonians that are watching right now to join our Twitter team so that we can get a lot more international media covering our struggle. Many people have complained why we haven't had international media coverage, and a lot of research have pointed that there's not a lot of coverage, there's not a lot of traction when you share information on WhatsApp and on Facebook. Actually, you get that more when you share information using Twitter. So if you want to join our Twitter team, you must go on to the SCACUF page, the SCACUF Facebook page. You would learn more about the Twitter campaign that I've started a few days ago, and join the team on Twitter. And just, we have some of our hashtags, our popular hashtags are free Southern Cameroons and Restoration Now. So those are two of the most important hashtags that we want to trend, that we want them to trend around the world for the entire month of September leading up to October, Restoration. So if you're on Twitter, you want to follow SCACUF, at SCACUF, and you will see most of the tweets. They have those hashtags. But importantly, go to the SCACUF Facebook page and just follow that. Just follow the campaign. There's a lot of guidelines if you just want to join Twitter, and you can learn how to quickly join Twitter and catch up. I actually had to create a new Twitter account 3 days ago, and you'll be surprised with the guidelines from the team. I've been able to tweet over 1,000 tweets in just 3 days. That is really amazing, but it's a way of us exposing the dreadful things that La République and their soldiers are doing to our people back at home, and more so bringing more and more awareness and attention to our struggle. So please join us with the Twitter campaign. As I leave you this evening, thank you so much again for watching Amba 360. We are always out there looking for important guests like Mr. Fru Nkimbeng from the city of Lowell, to bring and interview them so that they can share with you their journey, and they can encourage us as we continuously push the struggle to a good end. So thank you so much and good evening. It's bye from the studios in South Africa.
Welcome to Voices. We have been away for about 2 weeks, and there were 2 weeks that we needed, so we took them. But we're glad to be back, and within the past 2 weeks, a lot of things have happened. I don't know that we can cover all of them, but definitely we would take on as many issues as we can in the time we have. But we're glad to be back. And Rogers, I want us to start this conversation with school resumption, which was supposed to take place today. Today's September 4th, 2017. I looked at the internet, and I watched a video from Victoria, and they drove around town, and there was no school going on. I also saw pictures of, I don't know if it was gendarme or military people clearing the grass in Sacred Heart College, which was last week. I think it was the end of last week, which gave me a clear indication that the Sacred Heart was not ready for school. I also saw another secondary school, a bilingual secondary school somewhere, and the grass was through the roof, and the school was never even prepared. In fact, there were goats running around the place in classrooms. So that also tells me that our people have not been ready for school. They are not going back to school. I don't know if you've done any observations.
Yeah, definitely. The people have said that their business has not been taken care of, and for that reason, they are not going to send their children to school. They are not going to send their children to school while other children are locked up in Konengi and other dungeons in La Republique. They are not going to send their children to school when some teachers and some parents are sitting in the jails of La Republique. They are not going to send their children to school to be taught by the French-speaking recruits who have been deployed in our territory to dilute our education and under-educate our children. So they have taken account into all of those things, and they have said the requests that the consortium, TASAM and the rest, are demanded of the government, all what the government has done has been to lie to them. Like they have always lied to them before. So they are not going to take that anymore, and they have resolved that everything is going to happen when they are satisfied, not when La Republique or fake CRTV goes out and tells them that, oh, this is happening this year. And communication has been very instrumental in this struggle, because people can see for themselves what exactly is happening in Biame, or what is happening in Alatuma, or what is happening in Kejom, anywhere in the territory. So you cannot come CRTV, bring some old pictures and begin to tell people that, oh, this is what happened in Bamenda town today. I mean, there was one school in Old Town that I saw, the Minister of Basic Education, I don't know what the name of that ministry is, but the minister was there, and there were some 2 miserable children or 3 miserable children sitting in class. So the people have clearly said that they are not satisfied with whatever La Republique, the cosmetic La Republique is saying. The indigenous of La Republique are not going to come back and lie to them anymore. You even saw some attempts to go around distributing books, like you mentioned, clearing of schools. There were attempts to distribute books. When have all these desperate parents been receiving money for books, or books in order to send their children to school?
They always bought their books.
They always bought their books. So this is just an attempt to try to bribe people, to buy people's conscience. But the people are bigger than that this time around.
Before we come to why they are trying to get schools going, let's look at some of the efforts that were done last week in order to intimidate the people to go back to school, obviously coupled with Ghost Town. And I'm talking about what Ndumunji was trying to do in Bamenda. Before we talk about this Ndumunji, I think we should define who Ndumunji is. Ndumunji is the government delegate for Bamenda. And the idea of government delegates came in order to take power away from the elected mayors that were actually elected by the people. So that's a government imposition. And when we talk of a government imposition, we talk of a government that has never been legitimately elected by the people. And a government that represents the French government. And the French government is a genocidal government in Africa. They were responsible for genocide in Rwanda. They were responsible for genocide in the Bamileke and Bassa lands in La Republique. So you're talking of a so Ndumunji actually represents genocidaires, if you want to use the French word for it, because I think the French word is the most appropriate word for it, because they are the people who have been going around the world causing genocide, especially in Africa. And so Ndumunji represents a genocidal government that hates Africa, the only colonial power that is still in Africa. And so when you hear Ndumunji talking to our people and talking as rude as he was, he's not representing anybody but a foreign power which has dehumanized us by taking away our sovereignty.
No, he is representing Yaoundé, and he is representing the colonial mindset that our people have rejected. Because you see, he talks with arrogance, he talks with some kind of air of superiority. He tells the people that he has the authority to lock the sheds and lock up the market, and he is going to go after the leaders in the market. I am glad he said that, because now the people know that if anything happens to one of those people that he calls leaders in the market, the people are going to hold him and his family responsible for the safety of those people. So they call people terrorists. That if that is a threat to the lives of those people.
No, he represents a terrorist government in Africa. Yes, he represents a terrorist government even in La Republique du Cameroon.
Yes, so they are the ones terrorizing the population, because people have the right to say they are not going to open their market, and you are not going to be threatening their lives that if they don't come and open the market or talk to the traders to come and open the market, something is going to happen to them. Those are threats, and those threats come only from terrorists, because you don't want to do what the terrorists want.
Yes.
So who is a terrorist here?
No, they are the terrorists, and they've demonstrated their terrorism by kids using Android phones and exposing them. And that's one of the things that has totally handicapped, I hate to call them a government. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things that has totally handicapped the government of La Republique, because all they knew was force. They trained their police and their gendarmes to go out there and be masters in the territory against their people, which is what colonialists do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what. But I think the good news about all these savages ruling us is that our people have come to know them, and they've known the good medicine to give them.
Yeah, and the people told him in his meeting that he called, because he told the people that the orders were coming from the highest authority in the land. And the people told him, go to that your highest authority in the land and tell them that you need to release all the people that you adopted from Bamenda and Boya and Kumba and all over the place, and talk to Yaoundé wherever they are holding them. And you need to account for all of those that you don't have. That is what the people told him to go and tell that his highest authority. So the people they are seeing through that they are not going to be bullied or intimidated anymore.
Yes, and that is very important, because what our people need to continue to know is that they are the only creative force in that place. Nobody is going to make them do anything that they don't want to do. They can come with guns, they can do anything, but if they say no to it, that will be the end of it. Now, one of the tactics that they've used is to take away the leadership that the people chose democratically or any other way, in order to be the only controlling force in the place. And so that is why they arrested the consortium leaders. That's why any leader that has come to lead our people is either bribed, killed, or exiled. Mm-hmm. And so right now the people are leaderless, but they've gotten the message. So Android is the command center where we pass on messages on what to do, right?
Correct.
The other group of leadership has come from the diaspora. And Ndumunji was saying that the people in the diaspora, the people in the territory shouldn't be listening to people in the diaspora because they're living on the streets. Have you ever lived on the street?
Well, I am. It just shows how, when you don't have something to say, right, you can come up with innuendos like that. But let me remind him that the government delegate position or whatever he calls himself in the Bamenda Urban Council has some garbage collection trucks, and those trucks were donated by, I think, a council in Holland, or the government in Holland, to his predecessor, thanks to the efforts of those people who live on the streets in Holland. So when he says those things, he does not even know what he is saying. Maybe he needs to get out of his bubble, his Republic bubble, to understand what the world really is.
No, he says he comes abroad and sees them on the street.
Oh, well, what does he come to do abroad?
No, what abroad does he go to?
Exactly.
But let's not forget that.
No, let me finish, because so he is telling his highest authority that sent Laurent Eso, Paul, the other guy, Gogomo,
yes,
and all the people that they send to the diaspora, he sent them to come and meet those street homeless people on the street. Yes,
those homeless people on the street.
So I mean, it is ridiculous, right?
Yes, it is ridiculous. But what is also ridiculous is how much money is being sent home by these people who live on the street.
Yes, last year it was 586 billion CFA.
Yes, and 2.1 billion francs, I think. No, dollars. $2.1 billion.
Yes, so it is more than whatever La Republique got from the IMF, with all strings attached to the loans. So the people who are living on the streets are really if that's what living on the street means, then we want to live on the street. No, we like to live on the streets.
Yes. But you see, all of this is they live on lies, and our people are not buying it because our people have families abroad. You know, they did everything to chase a lot of us not to be in the territory, so we went abroad. So I can say a very good percentage of the families of Ambazonia have children abroad, and they know what those children do to make their families stay together. They know what they do to provide them a livable life, because La Republica has refused to employ them. They've taken away their industry. They've made life difficult even to drive on their roads. So our people know what their sons and daughters abroad are doing. And so when he comes lying to them, that's why the following day, what happened?
He thinks that all those buildings in Bamenda and Victoria and Kumba and all those places that have been erected, they think that they just pick that money from the streets. Yeah,
they pick it from the street. But I'm so glad that our people finally understood what was going on. The following day, nobody attended. The ghost town was 100%, and today there's no school.
But you have to look at the mentality of the people, right? You live in a country where there is no law, where everybody is the law. You are the landlord. The traders rent your property. And if the traders decide for whatever reason that they don't want to do business today, you as the landlord has the audacity to come and put padlocks on their doors because they refuse to open their sheds.
No, but it's not even. Don't even go that far. I think in a democratic society where the government derives its powers from the people, they listen to the people. If traders say they don't want to go to the market, ask them why and address it. If children say they're not going to school, ask them why and address it. If there are ghost towns, ask the population why and address it. It's only a government that is installed by a foreign force and they get their power from that foreign force that behaves the way they do. And I can tell you one thing, they are going to be out of Ambazonia, and if they continue to stick there for too long, they will lose even La Republique du Cameroon. Because I'm going to skip one of the things I was going to say here and say that one of the things that they're trying to do now is ban SCBC. Mm-hmm. Because of the truth that is coming through SCBC, and finally our people are realizing that they have been living in the dark ages led by people who are designed to be against them.
Do you know who wants to ban SCBC TV?
Well, the Minister of Communication in La Republique de Cameroon, Issa Chiroma.
And do you remember that there was one time that he laughed that he did not even watch that TV?
No, he watches it. Let me tell you who else watches it. The governor of, I think all the governors do have, but I know for sure that the governor of the southwest region of Ambazonia has it installed both at home and in the office, so he's soaking it all the time. And so keep listening, because what you will learn there, when you go back and stop serving people who are against your own people, you actually help your country also free itself.
And just to tell you how different SCB TV is from the CRTV that they want our people to watch. Some of the people that we profile on our shows are not in line with the editorial policy of STV TV, because STV TV is there to give pure information on what La Republique is doing to us and how we need to separate ourselves from La Republique. STV TV has covered people like Monzu and all the federalists who say there is actually nothing wrong with La Republique.
We've given them primetime life.
Yes, we give them primetime life because we want the people to be able to see and judge for themselves.
Yes.
We don't decide what you get to watch, but we present all the facts to you so that you can judge for yourself. Last week in Washington, D.C., there was a support march that was organized by some citizens of La Republique at their embassy. And there was a counter demonstration of Southern Cameroonians who were there to shame them and show the world what La Republique has been doing to the Southern Cameroons. They organized that because they said they were desecrating the symbols and emblems of La Republique. If you watch the coverage of that incident on CRTV, you did not see
you did not see Ambazonians on the other side.
On the other side who were demonstrating.
Yeah.
They turned their camera only to the La Republique people who were dancing in front of the embassy.
Yes.
So that is the kind. So if you were just paying attention to CRTV, you would not know
that there was a larger crowd on the other side.
There was a larger crowd on that side, countered, yes. And the police was in between them. The police put a police rope so that everybody stays on their own side and you can demonstrate peacefully. We in the Southern Cameroon Broadcasting TV, we cover it because we want to present the facts. The facts don't lie, and the people can judge for themselves what those facts are.
And you know, when they do that, they treat our citizens as though they're kids or they're dumb.
Exactly.
Our people know that, okay? But you talked about symbols, right? They did not want to show the Ambazonian flag. The Ambazonian flag is designed by Ambazonians. Maybe the people of the Republic do not know. That green, red, yellow that they carry was designed by the French. Okay, it was not designed by anybody in La Republique. It was designed by the French, gave it to them, gave their money to them, and then gave them their motto, Peace, Work, Fatherland. In that Peace, Work, Fatherland comes pretty much after a policy, after a motto that when the Germans colonized France, they gave France. They took away justice and liberty from the French motto and gave them something similar. I'm going to hold a show where you actually get to know what the French transferred to its colonies and definitely to La Republique is exactly what Nazi Germany gave them and taught them how to do this calais and all that. All those come from Nazi practice. So the green, red, yellow that they carry and fly around and think is their flag, no, it was designed by the Frenchman and gave it to you. So please discard that thing and go and design a flag that you can actually say this is our flag, because the flag you're carrying is a Frenchman flag, and until you get that away, you will never get the French out of your lives, and you keep going behind. Because you do know that they took a survey of all the countries in Africa and Francophone countries at the tail bottom.
Yeah, they are.
They're not developing. Why? Because France is taking their resources to develop themselves. Our neighbors, right next door, Nigeria, La Republique cannot come close to them.
Well,
and
I think the people watch the football match that La Republique played versus Nigeria.
Yes.
That is a state.
Ikum, yeah.
In Nigeria.
Yes.
And that there is no place in La Republique that can compare to that little state. And it wasn't like that a few years ago.
No.
Because the governor of that state is determined to transform the state and make its people and the state itself welcoming to the world. Now you can go and play a football match there and enjoy it.
A world-class football match in a world-class stadium.
In a world-class stadium.
Yes.
There is no way in La Republique where you can go. Even if a player collapses on the field, there is no hospital where you can go to. So these people should stop lying to themselves and face their reality. Well, it is not even our problem. You know, those are their problems. We are trying to build our country like that governor has just built that state. It didn't take people from space to come and do that. That is somebody that lives in that country and has transformed that state into a modern state, and we are going to do that in our own country.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because I was just waiting for you to finish, and I'll say that immediately we kick out these people, and we're going to kick them out soon. Within 10 years, we'll transform ourselves. We'll transform our roads from Victoria to Nkimbeng, and then to the other branches that cover that road that goes on to become the ring road. You know what I'm saying? We're going to transform that, and we're going to transform our country into something else. Because and I want to say this, you know, our country, Ambazonia, when you travel between La Republique and Nigeria, it is one of the least developed parts of that area, for one reason, that for over 100 years we've been ruled by foreigners. We were first ruled by the Germans, then the British, who took Nigerians to rule us, and then they gave our sovereignty to La Republique, which took its primitive citizens to come and be running, to come and make our land become a job opportunity for them. One of the reasons why they bring in francophone teachers. I was just listening to somebody explain to me why these people are having francophone teachers come to our classrooms to teach us and are failing horribly. They were saying that what happened was that, and I think this is a scheme that they designed, that they went to the mission schools and told them that increase the salaries of your teachers, we're going to make up for the difference. So they increased the salaries, they did not make up the difference, and so the schools, the mission schools ended up closing their teacher training colleges and some of the places where they recruit. I haven't verified that story, but that's what I heard was happening. So they've been building a house of cards, and that's how the house of cards has come crumbling down. We need to get them out of our land and rebuild our own land for ourselves. And I want to add something else before I go to the next topic. That for the last 100 years, we have been dehumanized. Because you cannot be, because what makes humans humans is the liberty that allows them to go and multiply like the Bible says. So what has been happening is that other people have come to use us as a tool of their own multiplication. And so in order to do that, they have to suppress our own liberty, suppress our own creativity, and all of that comes within our sovereignty. Our sovereignty is meant to protect our humanity. And so when people still talk about federalism today, we've already tried that for 56 years, and because we did not have our sovereignty, we don't have our humanity. Now, we've been talking about schools and La Republique preventing schools from happening, or La Republique pushing schools from happening. So, and this really comes down to what is the struggle about? Why is La Republique wanting schools to start? Why are they so particular that schools should start? There's a reason why. Can you imagine one?
Well, the reason they want schools to start is because they want everything to go back business as usual. You know, the school thing is something that does not sit well with any person in the international community. So La Republique is getting a very bad press from wherever they go, as far as these schools not going, children sitting at home and not going to school. So they are doing everything that if they can get these schools to go, then all the problems would have been solved. Then people don't really have anything to complain about, and then they can come in now and make sure that those whom they suspect that were behind all of these things, they will then take them and make sure that they treat them like the people. Maybe the people that you saw at their detention place in Yaoundé, you would not. It will be worse than that. So the reason they are pushing for schools to go back is because that is the only thing that is aching them in the face of the international community. Because there is no way you can go to the international community, because people know in the world that every person, whether you are poor or rich, wants to educate their children. And if people can decide that they are going to keep their children at home, it means that there is something that is really paining that people, that they have decided that we are going to sacrifice the future temporarily of our children in order to get a redress to that problem. So the Republic knows, and the world knows. So they are hoping that they can get us to go back to school, they can get the children to go back to school, and they could go back to the world and say, hey, look, everything is now normal.
Yes. They are trying to get normality. Mm-hmm. And inside that normality, it means they come back in control again. And then without any leadership like they've already created, they'll start picking one, each of us, and the descent to hell continues.
Yes.
But the other thing that they don't want happening, the other thing that the schools and the ghost towns are showing is that we are working as one people. And then come with the idea of Ambazonia and our flags. They see that we are mentally separating ourselves from them. We are mentally separating not only our country, but also their people from us, their ideology from us. They don't want that. So they already see Ambazonia creating. They're not, like Roger just said, they have obligations as a government. Bad as it is, even in lands that are that militaries conquer, they have certain responsibilities to that population, and part of the responsibility of this evil government is to provide us education. It is very good that we have decided that it's education that we do not want, and I think a lot of people have spoken on the type of education they're giving us. When we speak about the education they're giving us, right? I think from my own experience, when I was in Presbyterian school at Ziri, we used to have manual art. You probably did not have a manual art because they may have destroyed that before you came. Because we used to have manual art. Manual art means even in primary school, you start learning how to be a carpenter, you start learning how to be a blacksmith. There was a shop where you go there and they train you, so that by the time you're done with primary school, you can already do a lot of things in your own home. And then if you were to go to Ombe, you can grow and look. Most of the builders in southern Cameroons that could really compete with European building companies all came from Limbe. If you go to the Nchontu Syndicate, if you go to Nanga, that's where they get most of their technicians. When La Republique came, the first thing they did was take all the heavy equipment, downgrade it, because the French in their colonial tradition have never believed in developing the local populations to be anything other than a market for them to come and dump their poor goods. They are very bad goods. And so this whole fight for you to go back to school is because you're rejecting them, and those are the symbols of rejection. And the day that we go back without them out of our country, I can tell you what will be coming will be worse than we've experienced.
Yeah, because, and to add on to that, when we were just describing what happened in Washington, D.C. last week, so they are claiming that you are one, but you could clearly see the divide, right? There is no way we are going to live with these people.
No.
If you went to Boston, I think when we met with the guys in Boston in Atlanta, he told us that they used to have a social club.
Yes.
Where they went and socialized with the La Republique people, but that social club has crumbled.
Yes, when this issue came.
Yes, when this issue came, it has crumbled.
When the rebellion at home started and we started speaking clearly about it.
Here in Minnesota, it is the same. So there is no way the people, after you treat our people like that with all the pictures, this young guy who was just killed in Kifem today, for no good reason. You cannot kill our people like that and then you expect us to come and sit on the table and toast a glass of wine and say everything is okay. No, yes. It's not going to happen.
That young man for sure was not carrying a gun, right?
No.
Because I saw videos of people holding tree branches running around the street with the corpse.
You could see I don't know if it was his mother or that poor woman holding the child's head like that and looking into the child's face and asking herself. I am just imagining what was going through her mind as she's looking at that dead child, 14 years old, in her hands, and asking herself or asking her God, what has this child done to La Republique to be killed like this? A 14-year-old child. And you want to tell me that I can come and sit down with these people and talk with them and live with them like brothers and sisters as they are claiming? There is something wrong with me.
What was the story? What happened?
Well, there are different versions. Some of they said they went to this place because the children were cultivating whatever the child was doing, whether they were cultivating Indian hemp or they were breaking whatever law. Does that child merit to die?
No, it's not a death penalty.
Because they were breaking the law? Where does that happen? And you have military tribunals that are trying civilians. Which of these people that have perpetrated all these acts of violence and assassinations against our people have been tried in any military tribunal in the Republic?
But police work does not include being a judge and the executioner, does it?
No, it doesn't.
There's a show coming up by Ben Kwa where he talked very clearly about if Paul Biya, you remember and we're going to talk about that. Remember the thing he signed last week releasing the political prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that piece he praised the military.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that Paul Biya is responsible for these thugs, armed robbers that he sends on the streets, and they go around raping, killing, and doing all these heinous acts against our people.
No, but you don't have to doubt that. Why should you think that because it is because of the praises that he gave them that you should be attributing that? No, he has been responsible. The reason I say that is because none of these people have been brought to account. None of them.
No. Ever.
The 8 people that died in Mamina recently, all of the others that have been killed in his detention, none of them have been held accountable for the crimes that they have committed. Not even an investigation. The rapes in Boya that happened, nobody has been investigated. Nobody has been held accountable. And the minister will sit there and say, "Oh, do you want us to tell you if there is any investigation, it should be open to the people should know. Have you talked to the girls that were raped? Have you found out from them what happened? What kind of investigation are you telling me that you are doing?"
No, there's none. There's none.
All of these things, they end at his table, like the buck ends at my table, as Americans would say. So he is responsible. He is responsible. They are, if the instructions are not coming directly from him, they are coming from the people that he appointed, and none of those people have been dismissed because of some of the things that they have done to our people, which means it all goes back to him. So we don't have to be looking for his statements to attribute all of these acts to him. No, he is the one assigning those people and directing them to do that.
Yes, and I've already tied them that they are acting like colonial. They're acting the same as the colonial forces. But you should know that they are being trained by the French. When I was in Yaoundé, I taught ENAM, which is the military school. What do they call it? EMIAC, and all those schools that they were owned by La République, right? No, those are French schools where they train their military how to control their colonial populations. And so when you see these people carry guns and use them, trigger happy with them, they are trained to do that because and I know I'm repeating myself, because they train them that they are masters. Because remember that there was a police shooting in town here.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what happened to the police? The police was brought to justice, and even though he did not win the case, even though he won the case, but because of the way the police laws are structured, everybody was aware of what was going on. There was a trial, everybody was exposed to that trial, there was a jury, and the decision came. What happened, happened. So if La République say they're trying these people, we need to know. We need to know, and they need to put a transcript out so that we know what's going on. What is going on.
They are lying. They just think that we can just... Nobody is going to believe that crap. Nobody is going to believe that nonsense. Nobody has that monopoly of information. If there is any trial anywhere, the people will know. I am saying that if none of the people who were raped have ever been interviewed, so how do you want to try somebody or do an investigation when you have not talked to the victims? Right?
Yes.
The parents that lost their children, the boy that was shot in metal quarters, right in front of their house. Has everybody ever talked to the parents?
No.
Have any person ever visited that family to condole and send their sympathies that the governor, whether he calls himself what, has he visited any of those families to tell them that we are sorry that you lost your children? No. So these are people who don't care about us. And you talked about the training. I don't even think that it's about training, because I can give you an example. Thomas Sankara went to that school in Yaoundé.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not how Thomas Sankara treated his people.
No.
These are people that just see us, that we are beneath anything. It doesn't matter whether you went to EMEA or not. These stupid people who are demonstrating in Washington, D.C., did you see any of them, for the sake of humanity, come out and condemn those killings in Bamenda? No, because they see us that we are just nothing. We are something that they can just dispose of. So it is their mindset. That is how they have been indoctrinated. And you don't have to go to EMEA to get that kind of... That is how they have been raised. It is like in this country, people, the white people raise their children to look at black people as half human. It is that kind of indoctrination that these La Republique people give their children. They see Bamenda people as, oh, any stupid thing that happens in your lives, you are Bamenda, because Bamenda people are stupid.
Wow.
Do you have to go to a military school to get that training? No, it is indoctrination.
It comes down to the same thing. You know, for every law there's an exception. I think our appeal to La Republique, to Paul Biya, to the appointed governor. You see, when you said the governor should go and visit, I just laughed, because he's an appointed person. He was never elected by anyone to be a governor. But they parade in the place like colonial masters, passing orders, even wearing military uniforms. You know what I'm saying?
So that is where I am saying that they lack basic human decency.
No, but don't forget that the education that francophones, that citizens of La République du Cameroun and all France-Afrique citizens have, is education prescribed by the French. Mm-hmm. They're not going to give them education that empowers its citizens. They give them an inferior education that is based on lies, and that's why citizens of La République believe that Ambazonia was part of their territory that was reclaimed. And I've already argued here, Ambazonia has never ever been part of La République du Cameroun. Ambazonia was part of a German territory which they lost, and the French were part of breaking up those territories and giving them to go and be their own territory. We're never part of La République. We have never spoken French. Okay? Bafut has never been anything connected with Douala people. Okay? They were only done that they were only connected by Germans, and I think it was only for a few years. And in fact, Boya used to be the capital of German Cameroon and also Togo. But Togo cannot come and claim Boya today to be part of its territory. So they give them false education, and when you don't learn that 1 and 1 is 2, and you think that 1 and 1 is 3, you will never accomplish anything. So that is the false education that they give these people, and they act on it. You know what I'm saying? And because they act on it, they don't have results. But people like Sankara that you're talking, because humans are not only made by the education that they are trained, they're also made by their common sense. And so our appeal to the Paul Biyas, to the Ahijos, to the military, to Ndumunji, to the governors, appointed governors, is that they should wake up from the French Kool-Aid that they've drank, because they're dying from that Kool-Aid and they're killing their own people from that Kool-Aid. Okay, you know, Ndumunji, if he was living in a free Ambazonia, right, he will actually have a job where he has respect, where he actually gives command and people listen. Okay, where he doesn't have to kiss somebody's ass in order to have that job, and then have to go and force people to do that he's doing his job, to show that he's doing his job. Okay, so being a delegate, a government delegate, you're not a human being, because you're not working in a system that works by reason. You're working in a command system. It's a patronage system. So you in Ndumunji, you can never go and sue Paul Biya in any court and say, hey, you did not treat me well. You know, when you're not treated well at your job here, what can you do? You can go to court, right? Mm-hmm. If somebody fires you because they say that you're a foreigner, or you're black, or you're gay, or you're a woman, you can take that business to court and you win, and they pay you a lot of money, because it's a meritorious system, it's ruled by laws, and there's a reason for things. It's a governed society. It's a society of laws. Cameroon is a patronage system where you have to kiss somebody's ass and kiss even double in order to get something that you actually do deserve.
So the people, what I want, I'm appealing to the people. You are appealing to the Ndomos. I'm appealing to the people that they should see these people for who they are. There is no way you can sit down and break bread with these people. There is no way. Because these people don't have any interest of yours. They are all out there to grab everything that you have, even to the least. They will take it from you.
Yes.
So don't think that there shall ever come a time that we will sit on one table and sing Kumbaya and break bread with these people.
No.
It is over.
Yeah. So the only in order to close this segment, I think we need to emphasize that to our people that we are fighting colonialism is the same as we are fighting slavery, because colonialism was a successor of slavery and more efficient than slavery, because with slaves they used to carry them, pay transportation across the ocean, and then enslave them in another land. With the colonization, they actually came and enslaved us on our land. You know, they used to say that people from La Republique ran into our territory because they used to run from Njogmansi. Njogmansi is forced labor. So that's who is ruling you. That's who Ndumunji represents. That's who the governor represents. That's who the gendarmes and the police that you see on our street, they represent a foreign force, because we have never fought and breaking that chain. We've never, and that's what you're fighting for now. And in this fight, the only instruments we have is not going to school to show our resistance, honoring the ghost towns to show our resistance, and those are building a togetherness with us. We have our SCBC, which is bringing us information. We have our WhatsApp, through which we communicate. We don't have a godfather, and we don't have a standing army. So these are the only things we have, and they are working. They are working so beautifully that, you know, the whole of last week, there was a whole international press covering our events. The BBC, the VOA, even the French news, Deutsche Welle, they were all covering our events. Partly because of the resistance we've been putting. You know, when Ndumunji laughs at people in the diaspora, I think he's actually doing that in order to undermine, and he's trying to undermine because we have been very, very effective, not only on the ground but also abroad. I'm sure that when our citizens in London were in front of the Colonial Embassy of La Republique singing Amba, Amba, Ambazonia, and all those police that came there, I'm sure they called 10 Downing Street and they asked what was going on. And another thing that happened, when I talk about we have our androids, remember the picture that showed those people in the dungeons of La Republique. You know, that picture went worldwide. Mm-hmm. The BBC covered it, Yahoo News covered it. I'm just mentioning those that I even took time, but so what we are doing, we are succeeding. And La Republique, even the UN came out and was saying that they're ready to host dialogues, right? Mm-hmm. All of that is not because the UN is now interested in our struggle, because the UN, we have been going to the UN since 1961, and they've been ignoring us. But because of what you're doing on the ground, they are beginning to pay attention. The BBC at some point actually stopped covering our struggle because they said, oh, we're asking for sovereignty, so they will not be part of it. But guess what? Because of your persistency, they're coming back to cover us. So keep doing what you're doing. And the weapons that I say we have no other thing else. But they are working. And if they reach a point where they're not working, then we will escalate it. But we are never going back to La Republique. And so all these dividing books, sending their troops to go and become CDC workers in Sacred Heart and other schools, is because they know that they're losing it. Now, as part of not losing it, one of their tactics has been to arrest any legitimate leaders that come up, right?
Yeah.
They started by arresting SDF when SDF came up. Remember the Nyo Wakais, the Sama, the lawyers. They arrested a lot of people and locked them up in Kundenge for a while. And then they released them. Then they came back recently, arrested the consortium leaders and locked them up. And then Paul Biya decided last week that I'm going to release them. Very arbitrary. As I've been talking, it's again, but let me say, I have a theory why Paul Biya released them. Okay? He released them because when he captured them, he was trying to truncate any leadership that can do what the ghost towns and the school absences, that can lead us, that can organize us and lead us forward. But what happened was that because of the citizens that have been dispersed, abroad took over and started drumming the same thing down through our androids. And then the leadership that escaped to Nigeria formed SCACOV and some of the other organizations that are formed. And then SCBC was created. So they were trying to truncate our leadership, but we found ways to create new leadership that our people are still following. And because they arrested these people arbitrarily, there was international pressure on them everywhere they went to release them or take them to court, give them a trial. So La République started paying a price for keeping those people. And so they released them. They released them because they were trying to make them be an asset in terms of undermining our struggle, but it became a liability for them. So they did not release those people because they liked it. Do you have any thinking about that?
No, you're perfectly right. They didn't release them because they liked it. I mean, there's a video circulating on the social media of this lady that had an interview with this Tonga guy on, I don't know, it's Equinox TV. But she said it. She said this has cost La République so much in terms of bad press, in terms of financial resources, and all of that. She said the government might not even have money to pay people. They don't have money. This is a citizen of La République saying it is not one of us, because everything that we say is intended to bring down La République. That's what they believe. But this is one of their citizens actually criticizing them for how they have handled all of this trouble. She asked that, how can somebody asking for legitimate questions, problems that they don't have roads, the schools are bad, courts are this and that, and you catch them, put them in prison, and term them terrorists.
And then suddenly you release those terrorists back into the population.
And, you know...
Amazing!
It just made... Look, that same day that these guys were released by presidential decree, in Kenya, the Supreme Court of Kenya ruled in an election disagreement between a sitting president and the contender in favor of the contender. The Supreme Court cancelling the elections in Kenya. So you look at the country, you look, is that Kenya in Africa or it is not in Africa? So when you look at something like that, I sat that there and I said, oh my God, why did you join us with
these animals,
with these people?
The British could not have given us any worse training, any worse treatment than joining us with those animals. But let me say this part.
You cannot imagine that in a country that is in the same continent as Africa, that are all considered third world countries, that have the same ethnic situations that we have in La République du Cameroon. And this country, judges can sit in this country and rule. There is no judge in La République du Cameroon who has not followed only the instructions of Mr. Mbivondo. None. And these people tell me they are independent judiciary.
No, he's a.
So it just makes them, when this news came out of Kenya, and this news came out of Cameroon, it just made Cameroon a laughing stock.
Yes.
People that you have held for 9 months, and then all of a sudden you come and sign a piece of paper that by presidential decree they have been released. Oh my God.
No, let me say this, okay? There can't be a presidential decree that gives a pardon, right?
Yeah.
There can be a presidential decree, or a president, even in the United States, can give a pardon to somebody who has been convicted. But you give that pardon after the judicial system, after the judicial process, or the administration of justice has gone through and made a decision. I don't think the United States, the president can come in and say, hey, stop that trial, I will free that person.
Well, and they will go around and justify that is how their laws are set up. Because I heard the Issa Chiruma guy saying that part of the laws in Cameroon, which are laws that they just passed, those laws was passed in July of 2017.
No, they make laws.
Yes, so they are saying that the Minister of Justice can actually stop the judicial process. Why do you have a judicial?
Then why is there a judicial process?
Where in the world do you see that? So these are people that don't even know how to manage things. But look, my people, we want to build a country where the law is above, nobody is above the law.
Yes.
Where the law is supreme. Whether you are poor, you are rich, you are handicapped, or whatever you are.
You are connected or not connected.
Yes. Whether you know somebody or you don't know anybody.
Yes.
Everybody will be treated fairly before the law. Not that you would decide that I'm going to, because I disagree with this person, I'm going to send somebody to go and pick them up and lock them up. No, that is not how the law. And then when you feel like it, you sign a piece of paper that they should release them. It was an embarrassment.
Yes, it was an embarrassment and actually exposes what our people are fighting against.
Yes, that is what we are fighting for. That is because we don't want this kind of a system. We don't want to be part of this system because that is not what we know.
Now I have a comparison to make, and I have a judgment to pass also. In fact, the release of the prisoners have two other issues that I want to bring up.
Hold on. I don't want you to call them prisoners. These are detainees.
Yes.
They are prisoners of the Republic. They are freedom fighters.
Yes, abductees actually.
Yes.
So, thank you for that correction. And prisoners will be in court. What with the release of the adoptees, I have two issues to bring up, and I'm going to say that by comparison. Okay. When Nyawakai and the other SDF people were picked up, Nyawakai was a justice of the Supreme Court, and it is my understanding that release him and keep the others, and he refused. He said, if you're not releasing all of us, I am not going anywhere. And he spent some more time in jail that he didn't have to until La Republique released everybody, including him. I have a problem this time where our high-profile adoptees were very happy to leave court. I see them celebrating at home, and it seems to me, and I'm only saying this because I wasn't there to hear what they even asked, but they shouldn't have left that jail without everybody being released. Because what you've done now, you've abandoned them there. We don't know the names, so we cannot accept Mancho BBC. So these high-profile prisoners who were putting, high-profile abductees who were putting pressure and garnering the attention of the world, suddenly abandon everybody. I have a problem with that. Help me.
Yeah, you see, I took a deep. You are perfectly right. But I will qualify it by saying this. You and I have not been in Kondengi. We have not been in detention. So they made a personal decision. And the personal decision that they made is viewed by you and I now as a selfish decision. And the reason I call it selfish, because you have laid it out perfectly. When you go to war as a leader, because those people were the commanders, they were leading the troops, and the rest of the people who were arrested because they were following orders that were prescribed by those leaders.
Thank you. Thank you.
And when you get an opportunity to free yourself, and you take that opportunity and you leave those other soldiers that followed your instructions behind, what they say is that you left a fallen soldier on the battlefield and you came home.
You abandoned ship.
Yes. So, as I have said, I have not been in Kondengi, but you have quoted people who have done the same. And and just to add on to that, nobody is a Nelson Mandela. We don't want, that is
I was going to bring the name of Nelson Mandela, but you're taking it away. Go ahead.
That is a special caliber of a human being. But if Mandela had wanted, because at one time he was offered to be released from prison, exile.
Yes, he refused.
He refused. Because he knew that if he left that prison, if he left Robben Island, all the others, the Sisulu and all the other people would be in trouble.
They'll die there, yes.
So these, our leaders, Bala, Fontaine, and the others, they made a personal decision. They did not think about the struggle when they made that decision, because they should have taken that advantage that, okay, the Republic is feeling the pinch now and they are ready to release us, and they will tell the Republic, I am not leaving this jail. I will be the last person to walk out of this door until I know every single person that is held here. I want you to release every single person that is held here in Kondengi, release those in the Janamari, release those in Boya, release those in Bamenda, and release every single person. When I have verifiable information from my people that all of these people have been released, sir, I will walk out of this detention. Well,
that did not happen.
That did not happen. And the other thing that bothers me is that since they left, there have been statements that have been attributed to them. They have not issued a word. I saw them go and visit the governor
of La Republique.
I even saw a message from Tasang saying that Bala was forced at gunpoint to bow before the governor of La Republique. And I replied to that message. I said, I don't think I saw that gun pointed at Bala's head, forcing him to take a bow in front of that guy. So those are things that they did for whatever reason they are doing them. But now it now calls into question. So the people have to remain vigilant. They have not even taken the opportunity to thank the people that have been praying and fasting and protesting and doing ghost towns in order for them to be released. They have not issued a statement. How many days has it been now?
No, I was going to say that's something which should happen the first minute you jump out of that bus, you stand there, you make a speech.
The people were trying to welcome them, to greet them. They just dashed into the governor's office. You couldn't even stand there to hold all those people who had lined up to greet you, to welcome you home. You went to go see the governor of La Republique, the governor that had participated in your adoption, in your arrest. The governor...
The first person you get out of jail to go and meet and bow down to is that same tyrant.
The governor that prevented you from burying your father. It is that governor that you go and pay homage to after your release. There is something wrong in this picture, except I am not seeing well.
Well, there's something you said which I want to address before I address another issue. Let me say this, okay? Anybody who shows their face like we are doing right now, fighting for our struggle, is exposing themselves to be killed by La République and the French, okay? It's not just La République, La République and the French. Do not forget that Nkimbeng was killed by the French in a restaurant. In a restaurant. So when you say we have never been to, when you say in Switzerland, by French agent, they've admitted that. So when you say we have never been to Kundenge, no, by fighting for our people, we're accepting that we can end up in Kundenge, we can be killed anytime.
No, that is true. What I'm saying by that,
let me finish, please. And so what we are trying to establish is that if I'm adopted somewhere, right? Say they adopt you and I, and somehow I have a leverage, and I become a burden for them, and they want to release me, I will tell them, until you release Roger, I am not going anywhere. Because you don't get into this struggle looking to be rich or to be comfortable or to not have enemies. Right?
That's true.
Now, the other issue that I had trouble with the release of Bala and the rest is that Ben Muna, who is their lawyer, came out and said they are for federation. And I was listening to Chris Anu of Cameroon Journal, said that he called Ben Muna many times to verify the story, and Ben Muna would not answer his phone. So he sent a social media message and monitored it, and saw that Ben Muna read it, but did not, and still has not responded. And so he was assuming that is true. And so if they were given a conditional release, that they come and fight for federation or somehow divide our people for federation, I'm just letting them know that when they were in jail, a lot more happened to our people, and our people have learned a lot more since then, and they have moved on. We are not going back. So if part of the agreement to release any of the prisoners was that you will come and fight for La République, and evidence, especially by, look at, when Gojidinka was released from jail, there was no governor waiting for him. When Mukong was released from jail, he didn't go to any governor's house. Okay? So it's very highly suspicious under what circumstances these people are released. And if they're released to come back and be a problem for us, I can tell you it will end up being a problem for them, not for the people of Southern Cameroons.
No, you see, I mean, and these are very educated people, so it is not like they don't know what they are doing. They went to prison on the basis for advocating for federation. So if they open their mouth today and they're talking about federation, I hope they are rearrested. Yes, because that is the same crime for which they were arrested.
Yes.
Okay? The people with whom they were fighting, the people have evolved. The people have had different experiences while they were in detention. The people have seen the true color of La République and its citizens. And the people have decided that the only thing they will settle for is for a separation between us and La République. So if you are, I mean, they could agree with those people that, yeah, when we go out there, we are going to fight for federation as a way to get themselves out, right? That is my hope, because I don't think they will be that stupid. They have been following what has been happening. So it's not like they were completely cut out from the world. They were not in North Korea. So they know what has been happening, and they know where the people are. But they can go and join the Simon Munzus and all the people, the Anglophone Action Group and the Anglophone Dialogue Forum and all the other people. But we are ready to debate them every time, any day, to show us how that federation that they want to sell to us is going to look like. We are not afraid of that, and the people know. So that is why I keep appealing to the people that we need to be vigilant. This is the time. There are some people, there are some leaders that they call in leadership transactional leaders. And these are those kind of leaders. They are transactional. They can take you, put you as a pawn, settle you for whatever they want. They do the transaction and they move on.
And that's what has been happening with our people.
Yes.
Everybody who has come to be our leaders, they have postures for us, and then the people come and enrich them, and then they go away.
Yeah, so the people should know that we are not going to deal with transactional leaders anymore. Every single thing is going to be determined by the people. I myself sitting here talking to you, I cannot decide your faith. The United Nations or whoever is going to come in, and we will sit down with our Republic in a round table, as Justice Ayapo has said, and tell the Republic that we are leaving, and tell the United Nations that we are leaving. And we'll have a referendum that does not ask people to vote yes or we.
Just hold with that referendum thing. Let me say this, okay? There is no need for a referendum, because these are people who, we had our independence and we were asked. Let me say one thing before I say that. All what is happening to us now, the UN and the British are responsible for it. Mm-hmm. Because the people of Southern Cameroon did not choose to join the People of the Republic. They wanted their independence. They fought hard that they don't want to be part of Nigeria. Can you imagine, and Professor Anyangwe has argued this, that how can people who just from 1954 said very clearly that they don't want to be part of Nigeria, and that's why they came and established our own government in Boya. And then suddenly, in 1961, you're asking us again to make a choice to join Nigeria or La Republic. I mean, how many times do we need to say that we don't want to be part of? So this whole concoction, this whole murders and rapes and of our daughters, the rape of our land, the dehumanization, the UN and the British are responsible for it. We do not need to take a referendum to go back and be our own people. What we want, if the UN is coming in, they should be coming in to organize how La Republique packs out. Because one of the things that happened with the French when they pack out is that they dig up your tar, they cut your telephone lines, they break houses, they destroy your territory before they leave.
We'll build it. Let
them, if that's what they want to do, they already started doing that. So please, if the UN is coming, they should just come, let them finish the destruction and get out. Because we will rebuild our country and we'll put a wall between us and them, and they will be the ones who will be at a loss, not us.
See, let me explain.
So the whole idea, and I hear people throw this thing about referendum. Referendum for what?
No, let me explain to you. You know, I have heard those complaints where people say, I don't have a right to impose my views on them. And that is true. I don't have that right. And I am proud of the position that I am taking. I am not apologetic for that position. And when I ask for that, it is in respect to the views of those people and to shame them and to tell them that they think that the people are stupid. You understand? That is how we were raised. So it is to actually beat them hands down and tell them that the people are not fools. The people have seen enough of this stupidity. So they should not be running around telling the world that we are imposing our views on them. They don't want to be this, they don't want to be that. Let us give them that opportunity and show them. Let them go in front of the people and tell the people on what basis they are advocating for this position. So we are not afraid of that.
You know, my brother, the slaves never took a referendum for their freedom. Okay? What is wrong, and you bring in the correction and it's done. But you said something which is very interesting that I want to come back to. Mm-hmm. You said that Bala and the rest were arrested because they were talking about federation. Mm-hmm. And you said that if they are talking about federation again, they should be released. they should be rearrested.
Yeah, well, yes.
So my question to you is, this question not really for you to answer, but I'm going to give it to you. My question to you is, why is Monzo and the rest running around talking about federation and nobody's arresting them?
Well, I can't answer that question. I don't know. Even what's his name, Muna, that you were talking about. You know, that is the one of the reasons that you were talking about, that why does our Republic arrest people? Because their hope was that when they pick up Bala and all the other people, this thing is going to die down. It's going to scare the hell out of people, and people will run into their various holes, their rabbit holes where they have been hiding, right?
Yes.
That was their aim. So they picked up these people even though they had not done anything, and locked them up for all this time, hoping that this thing will go away. So I mean, I am not in La Republic's mind. I am just trying to find a plausible reason why the people are acting like this. I am trying to be a psychologist.
Let me say this, okay? It sounds to me that when an independent Ambazonian talks of federation, it means something different. It means a real federation, which La Republic does not want. But when their surrogates come and talk of federation,
yes,
they talk about the fake one that they put which led us where we are.
Yes.
So people, open your ears, because if you think the games have stopped, no, they will keep coming. Do you have anything else to add?
Well, I am going to tell my people that we are proud of you people. We are proud of how much you have sacrificed. We continue to ask you to sacrifice some more, because we believe in you and we believe in the future that we can all build together. We will not be able to build that future for our children and our children's children if we continue with this union with La Republic. La Republic has shown us time and time again that they are not honest brokers. They will never tell you the truth. I did make reference to the referendum question that they said here. I think some of you have seen it, where they ask people to vote we or yes. Where have you ever seen that in the world? So these people are not honest with you. You can never put your faith in these people's hands. You have to take your faith in your own hands and ask yourself, what is good for myself and my family? What will be good for myself and my children and my children's children? Is it continuing with this union with La Republic, or it is standing on our own and building our country like the state in Nigeria, Ibiakom, that I just talked to you about? We have the capacity, we have the know-how, we have the manpower, we have the resources, where even a mother in the farm will be able to leave their farm and go do paid work, be gainfully employed in our southern Cameroon country. So please, keep the faith, keep the struggle, and we'll see you in Boya.
And let me just add to what you just said by saying that basically the people ruling you are armed robbers. When colonialists came to Africa, they came to rob Africa. They started by catching Africa like animals, tie them, throw them in boats, and go sell. Okay? That's what people do with goats and pigs. You catch it, tie it, take it to Ntat market or whatever market. That's how they used to treat us. And then later they came back to exploit us. When they left, the British, in most of their colonies, they actually left. The French, till today, they swore that they will never leave, and that the only independence the people of Africa will ever get will be the independence of France. And that's why France still rules La République. That's why you still use their money. That's why if you go to Yaoundé, in the training schools, you have French people there. In every ministry, there's a French man there making sure that the cooperation agreements are maintained. And so Paul Biya, if Paul Biya just dreams of anything different than the French one, he's out. That's what Ahidjo did. He started thinking something different than the French one, and he was out. They lied to him that he was sick, but he wasn't sick. So what you have among you is armed robbers, and all they have is not reason. That's why Paul Biya can't even come out and talk. They can't even try to appeal in their courts, because if you try them in a real court, it will mean you have to produce some facts. That's why Barrister Boga is out of the country. He asked a simple question: show us the Act of Union. Gojindika asked the same thing. Those people are gone. So when you see people running around calling themselves lawyers, and then they talk about federation and making large exposés about federation, and then come back and go into the territory and lie on their beds, they're not talking straight, and they know better. So you're fighting. So you are fighting for your liberation, and this liberation is taking us over 100 years to come. It's like this: there are a lot of your citizens abroad that have a lot of money, which they would like to come and invest home, but you cannot come and invest in a place where a gendarme is the police, is the lawyer, is the executioner within 10 minutes. Like the child that was just shot in, is it Kumbo?
Kifem.
In Kifem. He pulled his gun and shot, and put his gun back and went back to his barracks, go back to his family, and nothing will happen to him. Nothing. So that is what we are fighting. And if there's anything that is giving us energy to continue to do what we're doing and take some of the risks we're taking, is because of your determination. We are so excited now, because we know that the human being, there's no other animal in the world more than the human being. And when you determine that you're going to build a plane, you will build it. Our people have determined that we are going to be free, and guess what? We are going to be free. Just need to keep doing the same thing. But we're not ending this show yet. But let me say this. The ban on SCBC is because SCBC, we may be repeating parts of this, is because SCBC tells the truth. Because if you have only the truth to tell, you shouldn't be afraid to tell it. La Republique has nothing to tell. That's why CRTV, I hear that CRTV, their viewership in Southern Cameroon dropped by 76%. So our people are not watching CRTV anymore, and I can tell you why you're doing yourself a lot of good. So just keep doing what you're doing. Now I have another thing that happened in France. I've been talking about France as being the mastermind. France is the mastermind that keeps Ahijo, or that keeps Paul Biya in power, and through him, they create all these guerrilla forces, arm them to the teeth to come and harass our people. Harassment used to be what works for them. If La Republique is frustrated now, it's because you are not afraid of harassment anymore, because that's the only tool they had. And now with your androids, you've made the world see what they do, and they can't even use them anymore. So they are they are in a very tight place. So Macron, this is a piece of news. Macron forms what he calls a Council for Africa. You know, when Macron came, people thought he was a child who was born when Biya was in power, right? That he was going to bring something new to the French colonial state in Africa. But now he's forming an African Council to be advising him how to manipulate Africa. The question is, can Macron form an Asian Council or a South American Council?
Well, we have seen that movie before, and the people from Togo to Senegal to anywhere in French Africa, it is only La République that the people of La République are unable to see that writing on the wall. I am telling you, in Togo, there are activities going on in Togo right now. If you were watching social media, you would have seen demonstrations in Togo asking for the end of the France CFA. So the only place where the people are still sleeping, it is in La République du Cameroon, where there was one guy in Douala the other day that I saw. He went and was whiplashing one statue in Douala, saying that there should be statues of Cameroonians, not French soldiers, statues in Bonanjo.
No, these are even French. These are foreign legion people, terrorists where they pick from other countries and send to come and kill Africans.
So this is what I'm saying, that it is only in La République that the writing is not on the wall. So he can form all the councils he wants. The Africans are taking him right in France, and I hope they continue to do that. I have seen them on train subways, riding the subway, and challenging French people. That is how I've always looked at French people, because they benefit from the misery of Africans. And it is time the Africans get on their shores and they insult them, call them all kinds of names, while their citizens are benefiting from all the wealth stolen from Africa. Unfortunately, the people in La République are busy drinking too much beer, enriching Brasserie du Cameroon, and that money is carried to France. So they should start seeing the right. If they don't see the writing on the wall, that is not our problem. I don't care about that, because I know that my Southern Cameroonian people have decided that this year is our year of the Lord. This is the year that the Lord has ordained for us. And this year is the year that it is going to happen. Our people have decided that we have had enough. We have been asking these people to do things right. For so many years, I have said on this show that you cannot be negotiating with somebody who has no authority to make decisions on the negotiations that you guys are making.
Yeah, they don't have a right. La République probably doesn't have a right to tell Southern Cameroon to go away, because Southern Cameroon is owned by France.
Yes. So you cannot go and say you want to sit down on the table and negotiate with La République when La République does not own itself. La République has to listen to Macron and his African Council to tell him what to do. So there is no way we can go and sit and negotiate honestly with people that don't have the authority to make a statement on the negotiations that we are making. So Laurent Esso can say all what he wants. Cavalier Jibril can say all what he wants. The Mbandams and all the other people,
and then Dumuz,
they can stay in La République.
Yeah, and the Issa Chimura, Issa Chiroma, that guy actually knows better. You know what I'm saying? And we know that he knows better because he's said it in the past and it's on record. But somehow these people don't have the fortitude. They're not disciplined enough to act like the Sankaras that you talked about. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, because whatever he was saying, he was looking for a way. Somebody said it very well, that it is Chiruma that undermined, in one of those elections, that undermined the opposition in the La République election, in order to gain the position that he is currently in.
Yeah.
When the opposition was working for United Front.
Yeah.
So these are people who are self-serving. These are people who don't have the interests of the people at heart. And we are sitting here in America talking to you. Why? Because we care about you people. We are not selfless, heartless people. If we cared only about ourselves, there is no reason for us to be spending the resources that we are spending trying to make your lives better in Southern Cameroon.
I think our people know that, though.
Yes.
I think our people know that. But let me say something to Chiroma. That Chiroma, you're living a purposeless life. If all you come to life is to have a shelter over your head and feed yourself and put clothes on your back and dream of nothing bigger than yourself, then you're not living any better than animals. Because the animals, God clothed them, and so their only job is to run around and hunt for food, and then go to sleep and get up and do the same thing and die. Okay? As a human being, God gave you more. The Bible says, or I'm sure the Quran says that somewhere, that go and multiply. It means come and make life on earth better. Are you making life on earth for the citizens of your country better? That's a question you should answer. For me, I would say no. So please, use your bilingualism, use your education, use your experience to do something better with your life than serve the French who are colonizing us. You, with your talent, you could actually be a millionaire. I mean, dollar millionaire with honest money, not stolen money. But look at you, you're mouthing French policy in Africa. You're mouthing French colonization of your country and your people. Please, I know you can do better.
So there is one more thing that I would like to tell Chiruma and its La République citizens that our people too need to see. One of the greatest assets that La République Cameroon has is its football, right?
It's soccer?
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
So that is one of their greatest assets. That is one of the greatest pull factor that Republic has. The greatest Kool-Aid that La Republic can give people in mass, and they will drink and forget about their misery. What is happening in it?
No, it's going down.
It's crumbled. So I don't want you.
It's going down because of corruption.
I don't want you to be in this ship. If a ship is sinking, are you going to stand in that ship and hope that, oh, maybe this ship is not going to sink? That hole that is sinking this ship is going to somehow heal itself and will stay afloat? Please, my people, if you had any doubt, this is the time to see that this ship is sinking. We have to get off this ship. We have to get off this ship and take our destiny in our own hands. Thank you.
The day you would come on the table to discuss about federalism, people will say we don't want it anymore. We have a right to self-determination.
Capital of Southern Cameroon. I die. I will.
Not God doesn't make it. The president of this country better wake up to the real fact. This country was united by a purpose. It was not one and indivisible. It was united by the will of the people of the Southern Cameroon, not by the will of any other person.
What about the youths championing the cause?
The future is theirs. I'm 77. Mine is gone. I may die tomorrow. If we don't fight, our fathers will come from the graves to fight for them. They have the right to fight for it. The better fight, man. The better bloody fight. No liberty is gained by lying down and allowing people to walk on you.
And the students held back at home?
Let them lose 1 year of school and get a better future. What are you talking about? Let them lose 2 years and get a better future.
What then happens to the future?
Papa was right then. I should have never told you about this darn thing.
You knew I had to see this party.
And what now then? You've seen the pate, the ornaments, the flowers. What else is there, huh?
I need to see the most important thing.